we're going to talk about how to stay consistent. If you ever tried changing your habits, you probably saw this is a huge challenge. But I recently discovered 5 simple keys that made staying consistent feel effortless. I used these throughout a 90-day personal growth challenge I just finished, and I'm so excited about the progress I made that I decided to do this challenge again to finish 2025 strong. But this time, I want to do this challenge with you because I know that together we can go further, faster, and have more fun. So if you're serious about your goals, but you've been struggling to stay consistent all year, this is your last chance to make a change before the year ends. In my previous video, I introduced the Life Mastery Challenge, a 90-day personal growth challenge designed to help you build good habits and take consistent action so you can finish the year feeling proud of everything you've accomplished. Just imagine where your life could be in 90 days if you actually followed through, focused on your goals, and built habits like exercising regularly, eating healthy, reading more, planning your days, fixing your sleep schedule, whatever that is for you. If you're tired of doing it all alone, join the waitlist for the Life Mastery Club, my personal growth community, where I'll host this challenge because inside you get the daily motivation, accountability, and a community that keeps you going. Building good habits changed my life, and it will change yours too. And if you're already getting a little distracted, come back to this video because what can possibly be more important than changing your own life? Focus here, we're gonna cover 5 keys that will help you stay consistent. And I promise you that if you do these 5 things here, there is no way you're not going to see a change. It is absolutely guaranteed. And the first key to stay consistent is to track your habits. And I can't emphasize the importance of this enough because when you're tracking your habits, that acts as a reminder for you to give your best every single day. And the key here is to focus on progress, not perfection. We're all gonna fail. Some days we're not gonna be able to do some of the habits. Our human brains are always paying attention to what's going wrong because that's how we're wired. So we need to consciously acknowledge ourselves for our efforts and for each of the boxes that we're taking there. And for the boxes that we're not taking, that we're finding a little challenging, we need to use our brains to figure out ways we could make it easier and more enjoyable for us to actually follow through with those habits. I know from experience that especially when we're kind of like not meeting our own expectations, that's when we start telling ourselves, oh, maybe I won't track it today. And then today turns into tomorrow and the day after. And soon enough, you are already giving up on your habits, on your goals, and on yourself. And while we think that missing some days is the worst possible thing that can happen, no, the worst possible thing that can happen is to give up. As you check your 30-day habit tracker every day, you're gonna get that boost of motivation because you can visualize your progress. You can see that you're putting in the work. And by committing to filling it out every single day, you are staying accountable. And that's why tracking your habits daily is the #1 key for you to stay consistent. The second key to stay consistent is to engage with the community daily. Especially if you're the sort of person who gets a lot from group energy, you get really motivated and you do your best when you're part of a bigger group, this is going to be essential. A simple example for me is when I'm going to spinning classes. Some days I don't feel like it. I just tell myself I'm going to get there and I'll do bare minimum, okay? And the minute I get there, I see people and everyone is kind of warming up and the music starts going. The next thing, I am feeling so excited and I finished the class doing much better than I thought I could do. And this is the power of group energy. When you're part of a group doing something together, you get that like sort of a boost of motivation that keeps you going much further than you thought you could do by yourself. And that's why engaging with the community is so powerful. When you're finished tracking your habits, maybe you open the community, you can share some of the wins that you had that day, any lessons that you learned, and even ask for help if you are facing any challenges. People are going to be more than happy to share with you how they dealt with that challenge before. And that way you can overcome the challenges you're facing much more quickly. Engaging with the community can be something as simple as giving it a like, reading a couple of comments, but if you can leave a short comment on a post or reply to someone in that post or even post something yourself, that is even better because that's going to create even more accountability. I'm super excited about the community because I'm the sort of person who thrives off group energy. And I'm sure that by connecting with you on a daily basis, this is really going to help every single one of us to go further, faster, while having more fun when we're together. So if you're anything like me, head to the link in the description below and join the waitlist for the Life Mastery Club. The third key to stay consistent is to review your progress weekly. For that, we're going to be using the weekly review section of the 30-day habit tracker, where you're going to answer 3 simple questions. The first one is, what went well this week? So here you want to acknowledge yourself for your efforts and celebrate the wins. Because our human brain is always focusing on what's going wrong and never really takes the time to appreciate and acknowledge ourselves for all our efforts, for all the things that are going well. The second question is, what did I learn about myself this week? This is going to help you reflect on what's going on, what's been working for you and what hasn't been working for you. This is all about taking a step back, looking at the big picture, so you can reflect a little bit more on what's really been going on. The third and final question is, what actions will I take to improve next week? This question is really key because it's going to help you identify what are the key action steps that are going to help you keep progressing and keep improving during this challenge. Here you want to think about strategies, people, tools, whatever that can help you build these habits in an easier and more enjoyable way. The fourth key to stay consistent is to do a monthly review, because if you want a lasting transformation in your life, you really need to incorporate these habits into your life. And while building a habit for 30 days really is a great achievement, it is not enough. You need to continue it for even longer to really make sure that you are making it part of your routine and part of who you are. So if you got to the end of the 30 days, you should really celebrate yourself, because what you have done is something that most people cannot do. You committed to building all these habits for these 30 days, and you really put in the work. Every single day you were tracking your habits and doing your best. And now you got to the end of the 30 days. Regardless of how well you think you did, you should really celebrate yourself for this achievement. Because before being great at doing something, we're all gonna be really bad at it. And let's just embrace that. So if you think to yourself, oh my God, I did so bad, that's great, because you got that out of the way and now you can focus on being good to someday really be great at those habits. So I've got my habit trackers here, and this is how many I have used with varying levels of success. But at the end of the 30 days, I like to do some maths because I love quantifying results. I keep it really simple. I just add up how many repetitions of the habit I have completed in the space of 30 days, and I divide that number by how many was my intention. That way I get a percentage score for each of the habits, and I can also calculate what's my percentage overall. And in general, if I got above 80%, that is a huge success. And if you manage to do that, wow, congratulations. The level of commitment that you had and the execution, this is going to get you ahead of 99% of people. But if you're below 70 or 80%, it is really important for you to reflect on what you learned from this experience here. Especially for the habits that you did below 50%, you should be asking yourself whether those habits are important to you. Because as you're doing the habit, you're gonna learn if that is actually really important to you. But if it is important, but you're just finding it hard to do the habit, then you can ask yourself how to make it easier, how to make it more enjoyable, find strategies, tools, people, whatever, to help you stick with it. And that's why using the 30-day habit tracker really helps you learn so much about yourself and about how you work. And that is really key for you to set not only intentional but realistic goals for yourself moving forward. So once I'm done with the maths here, then I do a quick reflection down here. I just reflect on my wins, my lessons, and the next steps that I will take as a result of doing this 30-day habit challenge. The fifth and final key for you to stay consistent with your habits is to set up a new habit tracker. And it's going to be much easier now for you because you can use your previous habit tracker as a reference point and just adapt things as you learned about yourself, about your life, about your goals as you walked through the past 30 days. To set up your new habit tracker, you can use the exact same 5 steps that I outlined in the first part of the video, but you need to consider something here. When you're setting up your new habit tracker, it is very important for you to adjust the habits that you're going to build. Because maybe some of the habits that you had in your previous habit tracker may not make sense anymore. Maybe you realize they're not that important to you and there are things that are more important that you work on. So you can let those habits go and make space for new habits that may be more important to you. But there may be some habits there that you did so well that they have essentially become part of who you are, of how you operate, of how you run your life, that you may not need more accountability or motivation to keep doing them. You're pretty confident that now I don't need to be tracking this habit anymore. On the other hand, you may have multiple habits that you may still want to keep tracking because maybe you feel like you still need a little bit more motivation and accountability to actually follow through with those habits. They're still important to you, so definitely make sure to add them to your new habit tracker and see if you need to adjust them in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you want to do a bit more of that habit, maybe a little less to make it more realistic, or you want to do it more frequently or less frequently. You can essentially adjust them here based on what you learned in the past month. Right, so those were the 5 keys to stay consistent. If you actually do these 5 things, I can absolutely promise you that you're going to make a lot of progress. It's not going to be perfect. You are going to fail at times, and that is part of the process. Just embrace that, trust the process, keep doing your best, and you are going to see a massive progress at the end of these 30 days. At this stage in the video, I know that I'm only talking to the top 10%. So if you're watching this, you're the type of person who knows inside that you're meant for more, that you can do better, and that you just need some sort of support to help you actualize your potential. So if that's you and you know that you can achieve more if you get access to the right structure, the right system, the right supports, then definitely make sure to join the waitlist for the Life Mastery Club. That way you're gonna get access to not only this 30-day habit tracker, but also to a community that will keep you motivated and accountable to actually follow through with your habits every single day. So if that's your vibe, I'm super excited to connect with you guys inside the community. If you want to get more ideas for the habits you want to build, definitely make sure to watch this video next because there I share my 12 habits for life. I hope to see you there. Bye!